Gotta tip the brim, man, to kick this off. Yo, man, episode 5.
What's up, fellas?
Episode 5.
Yeah, we moving this season.
Yeah, we are progressing, man.
What's up with you, brother?
What's going on with you, man? Bless highly favored.
Doing good, brother. What's up with you, man? How y'all doing?
You know what I'm saying?
We got
No.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, damn. So this is Honesty on the Table.
Yeah.
Yo, where our mission is to cultivate a space such as this, where vulnerability, transparency, and humble curiosity serve as our foundational roots for individual and collective progress. Gentlemen, we gon', as y'all see, we got the nail you on. So if y'all haven't figured this out, we're gonna talk about some education. We're gonna talk about some education. Education, right? We're gonna get in that bag.
Get it.
All right. So first and foremost, self-awareness is key. I gotta check in with brothers, man. How y'all doing? How y'all feeling? Who wanna kick it off? Who?
Yeah.
Who wanna unload on the table? How they feeling this week?
It's been a. We was trying to get communication. It's been a lot going on this week. I definitely been swamped just dealing with work. I was a little overwhelmed for a minute. I had to kind of like put some pieces back, slow some things down, because sometimes we could just be moving too fast. So I say that I finally got things a little bit more stabilized, just like relaxed, slow motion. So that's sort of the place that I've been in, but in a good place though. Yeah, what about you, bro?
Me personally, my week been great. My week always great. You know what I mean? So like, just getting to the business. Really, my focus this week was just I was doing some research on some credit hacks and shit like that. So you remember I sent you that one video on Instagram with the other 7 bureaus and stuff. Opt out before you actually start to remove certain things off your personal credit. But other than that, my week been good, bro. I've been chilling, focused. About to start hitting that gym again, so
Yes, sir.
I'm be ready for you, bro.
You been Jalen? You been in the gym yet?
I mean, Jalen was in the gym, bro.
Bro, look at that nigga chest, bro. Like, these are questions. He's like,
Man, I gotta catch up, bro. This shirt's supposed to be a medium right now. It's small.
man.
Crazy, man. So well, so I'll be waiting for all my gym partners, man. You know what I'm saying? Which I'm including both of y'all as well.
Come soon.
Come through, you know what I'm saying? Get ready. Beach body ready. My week was good. Statistics been kicking my ass a little bit in class, but it's a semester, but it's all right, man. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nothing to it. You gotta pay your dues. That's why I consider it. So whenever you hit that bump in the road, it's like I say I pay my dues. Right. I'm paying my dues. That's why, you know what I'm saying? So otherwise it's good, man. Looking forward.
Whatever, bro. Hey man. Y'all know what's going on in the news, bro. Assholes is tight right now in my job, brother. With the war going on over there in Ukraine and Russia, so everything's just shit's going right now. Right. Everybody on high alert. But besides that, I mean, work's work. Huh?
Y'all change pecans?
Nah. We ain't there yet, bro. Nah, they just started sending people over to the NATO countries, so but we ain't on no extra shit right now. You know what I'm saying? But like when shit like that happens, bro, military like to get back to basics. They looking at doing formations and all this other stuff, bro. Man, come on, man. Come on, bro. Stop it. But besides that, bro, everything been good, bro. Shit, just moved my father-in-law down here, bro, from Connecticut. So, we in the process of him set up. He in real estate, he's a broker as well. So trying to get him, in that business out here in Atlanta. So that's really it though, bro. I've been good, bro. Jalen, bro, Jalen. Remember that conversation we had, bro? Yeah,
we did. I actually gotta have a follow-up, man. I gotta check in on you, man.
We'll talk about that later, bro.
So you can
What was this? What was this?
That was because I ain't answered phone.
Okay, I'm like, okay.
I had to vent to my brother, my counselor, real quick.
It's crazy. So let's break bread. Health and finance tips. So who's gonna dish out the health first, finance first? Marlo, Mike, who?
I'm gonna
lead with the bread.
I'm gonna lead with the bread.
All right,
the bread is key, man. So piggybacking off what Elijah said, we're gonna talk about how to build business credit. All right. So as Elijah stated before, you're going to choose the right business structure. You know what I mean? That's the LLC. Then you're going to obtain your EIN, which is your tax ID number. And he said, you're going to open your bank account. And then your fourth step, you're going to actually establish your credit with vendors and suppliers. So when I say vendors and suppliers, we're going to speak on like your net 30s, your net 60s, your net 90s, whichever one you apply for. For example, the three companies I would say will be Quill, Granger, and Uline.
Uline.
So you start with those. So once you want to do each process within these steps are at least a 60 to 90 day process. You want to at least make 2 on-time to 3 on-time payments before you move on to the next step. So once you get your net 30s through 90s, you're going to move on to basically how to monitor your business credit to ensure that those 3 companies are actually reporting back to your bureau. So first thing you want to do is get your DUNS number, which is a Duns and Bradstreet number. Then you want to also set up an Experian or Equifax monitoring account. And the site I use is Nave. And also with Nave is going to give you your Paydex, which is basically 0 to 100. So obviously, the closer you are to 100, the more or less risk, and the more likely that you get approved for like your business cards and stuff like that. And then after that, once you establish those, then you just monitor that. And then on the next episode, I'm gonna let y'all know about the retail cards.
Ooh.
So you talk about the cash back, you talk about the tier 3, 3 and 4 credit cards.
But just a quick little like add on to that too. If you bank certain banks, right? Like for example, like I do my business with Bank of America, right? They'll give you your free business credit score like every time you log in. So you don't have to pay that, because what is that, like $50? Like
it's 30.
Like 30 or $30 a month, you know what I'm saying, to monitor that stuff. But certain bank accounts that have the business accounts will actually give it to you for free. Just a little, just throw it out there.
Okay. Yeah.
But that's what's up, brother. All right, so we're gonna talk about this health tip, brothers. So my hookah smokers.
Hey.
My ganja smokers.
Huh?
My black and mild smokers. Come on, man, smoking, bro. We gotta stop it, y'all.
Cigarettes,
for real.
Yeah, I say them cigarettes.
Yeah, cigarettes. Yeah.
Bro,
The
cigarettes,
electric
all
pens
that.
too. The
bro.
electric
I
pens, cigarettes.
I want levels with that because
It is levels.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
It
is levels.
People smoke cigarettes,
Bro, listen. At the end of the day, bro, any smoke that go in your lungs, bro, is bad for you. Okay, so we're gonna talk about smoking, bro. Smoking is one of the worst things you can do for your health. All right, smoking and secondhand smoke exposures can also cause other health conditions such as chronic obstructive pulmonary disease and heart diseases. They also raise your risk of developing many types of cancers. All right, the nearly 7,300 non-smoker Americans die from lung cancer caused by secondhand smoke every year. And this information is coming from the CDC. All right, so you may not think it affects, your, I don't know how to say this correctly. Secondhand smoke, they actually say secondhand smoke is actually worse than smoking itself because it's a silent killer, so all I'm saying, man, for my ganja smokers, edibles, bro. Simple. The high's more potent, and so I hear. You know what I'm saying?
Edibles.
I don't know about that, but so I hear.
I hate edibles, man. Every time I had an edible experience, it just wasn't controlled. It wasn't regulated. It was like, okay, I take an edible, then 45 minutes later it hits me, or an hour later it hits me. It's just like I ain't got time for that. I like it to be managed, man. I like seeing it come. I like knowing
for the whole
when
day.
it approaches. I don't need the whole day. I just need it for a certain amount of time, and that's it. I don't need all that extra stuff, man.
Hey man, stop smoking, y'all. All right, get hookah. My hookah guy. Stop it, bro.
Hey, man.
12 o'clock in the afternoon, brother. Stop.
He ain't gonna let that go.
I ain't gonna let that go. I ain't gonna let that go.
One FaceTime call.
I happen to have an early day.
Oh man.
He was up at 5.
I mean, bro, but you know what's crazy about it too? Is that like, you remember back in the day, like, I'm talking about like the 50s and shit like that, like the tobacco companies would just flood, with advertisement and stuff like that, smoking on planes, smoking in restaurants, and then they was like, oh no, we gotta ban that, right? Bro, hookah. Bro, you can smoke hookah with your breakfast now, bro. Like Atlanta brunch. It ain't a brunch without hookah, right? What you making that face for?
Mimosa.
What you mean? You never?
I mean, that's what I'm saying. The drinks. I'm looking at brunch without the drinks, like mimosas, sangrias, but
This is Atlanta, bro.
But that's
but
true.
the hookah with the brunch.
Yeah, I mean, I know a couple
Pancakes.
restaurants.
I'm not a huge fan of hookah, so that's why I'm just like,
That's a big thing in the culture, though.
That's what I'm saying. It makes everybody got hookah, bro.
And brunch start at what, 11?
IHOP about to have hookah.
what?
So, bro, stop it. I'm telling you.
Who?
IHOP.
You just saying it's
But you know they started selling alcoholic beverages, bro. You know what's the next step?
Yeah, go hookah.
Yeah, bro.
I mean, it makes sense, bro.
Hey, bro,
I
stop.
don't need to get on some loud type of.
Stop smoking, y'all.
Nah, a Waffle House, man. Waffle House should have been stepped up and branded because, come on, black folks flood Waffle House
They
at the
do,
clubs,
they
man.
do.
I don't know why they didn't just step it up a little bit.
No, you don't need to, bro. We're gonna still support the business, bro.
Of course, but I'm just saying, add that hookah thing that you were talking about. I mean, Waffle House.
Bro, don't add the hookah, bro. Don't smoke. That's the health tip. Okay? No smoking, man.
Hey, man.
Oh, I got that advice, bro.
Yeah. All right. We here at the main event.
Let's go.
Education. This may be a long episode. This may be a long episode talking about this. Where we going? We're talking about the power of education. All right. As American black men, like what that means to us. But first, gotta start off with some education quotes because as a former educator myself, when I walked around the school halls, you see quotes all over the building. You know, self-affirmation, affirming quotes all over the building about what you can do with education, how education is used as a tool. So let me give you a couple of things. My best quotes, my favorite quotes.
Yeah.
Martin Luther King had said, the function of education is to teach one to think intensively and to think critically. Intelligence plus character, that is the true goal of education. Now, when it comes to that, I've always heard the latter sentence, not the first. I think that's systemic. That's just me going down my sociology conspiracy thought, right? Intelligence plus character, that's the true goal of education. But that foremost sentence was, I think, is the one that you need to think about in the context of education, right? Mm-hmm. Thinking intensively and to think critically. That's the function of education. And then James Baldwin going to follow up and say, the purpose of education is to create in a person the ability to look at the world for themselves to make their own decisions. Mm-hmm. I ain't never seen that quote in the building when it came to education. Mm-hmm. Never seen that. Let's get into some stats, right? Yeah. Let's get into some statistics right now. It's maybe a little daunting for the viewers and the audience out there, but hey, this is real. And we're talking about black facts too. Right. As we black men, we're speaking for our black people.
Come on, bro.
Black facts. First and foremost, do you know the population of black America? Anybody know the population?
Of black America?
Black people in America. What's the population? Census population.
We're doing percentage or we're doing a number?
Either or.
I would say percentages in like 25% or 24%.
I know it's less than 20.
13.
Which is a lot, but we're gonna
14.2%.
Yeah,
the black population is 46.9 million. We haven't even eclipsed 50 million. The last time black people had over 20% equity stake in the population, of course, it was slavery. And that was pre-1800s.
Do they do censuses with like mass incarceration? Like people been locked up? Is that part of it? You know what I'm saying? Yes, because in the aspect of they need it for their own privatized dollars and funding. Yes, to put it even more, put it more harshly, yes, they do it because they need to account for how many black and brown heads are up in there. I be wanting to say that's cap so crazy, but I don't. I realize that it's maybe not. Whenever I go out west, whenever I go to Cali, whenever I go there, bro, I be like, bro,
Middle America, literally going to Middle America, where the black folks at?
I be like, bro, what's up? What's going on?
Actually, travel outside of any metropolitan area. Travel outside of Atlanta, the metropolitan area. You see it at every polling, voting spot. When they zoom in on the state, you see the blue in the middle and you see red on the outside. That's not by happenstance.
Yeah, but I mean, this Bible Belt, bro. Like,
of course. But I'm just trying to put that in the context about how we originated here in the Southeast and the South, and then how, even with that, even after like the 2 migrations we've had and all the other stuff, we're gonna get into it. We're gonna get into it. All right. Black educational attainment, right?
Yeah.
So this is for 25 and up. And I'm gonna compare it to 1940. in a time in which before Brown v. Board of Education of 54, before segregation was abolished, quote unquote, and blacks were given an equal education and equal access to education. 1940. High school attainment, those with a high school degree, was only 7%. 7% in 1940. Now, 95%.
All right, we coming up.
95% of black folks over 25
like that.
have a high school diploma.
I like that.
Or an equivalent. Bachelor's degree or higher of educational attainment. Back in 1940, that was only 1%. 1% of the black population had a bachelor's degree or higher. Now, 28%.
Okay, that's a good jump.
It's good. Let's get into the money.
Thank you. I was about to say, none of that means nothing.
Yeah, let's talk about it. Talk about dollar bills, man.
2021, as of 2021, 50% of black students have student loans. 50% of black student loans. One out of every two of us have student loans.
50%?
I thought it would be more.
More than 50%?
We're going to get into it.
Yeah, I thought it would be more.
Black student borrowers are most likely to struggle financially due to student loan debt, with 29% making monthly payments of $350 or more. Over 50% of black borrowers report their net worth is less than what they owe.
Damn.
And you know, net worth is what? Assets minus liabilities.
Liquid.
So over 50% of black borrowers report their net worth is less than what they owe. At 46%, black student borrowers are more likely to delay buying a home. And 60% of still indebted black borrowers do not have a savings account.
Wow.
Where Joe at, man?
Let's get into
Where Joe at, man? Why you talking that shit, man?
I had to let it breathe. I had to let it breathe.
Hell no, you gotta let that breathe. You gotta let that breathe on that one. Nah, bro, for real.
So as we get into it,
Yeah.
first and foremost, fellas, let's talk about who we are. Let's talk about our degrees. Let's talk about our alma maters.
Yeah.
Let's talk about what we've earned. You know what I'm saying? We got our alumni stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna ask you some questions. Just general introduction for those in the audience to know. Tell us what schools you've attended, you know, colleges you attended, grad year, any honors you may have received, and if you are first generation meaning that you are the first in your family to attend and complete college. Your parents did not complete college. They may have attended, but they did not complete. So again, coming around, tell everybody your grad years, what schools you've attended, any honorary distinctions, what major it was, of course, and if you are first generation. Who want to kick it off?
Go ahead, my brother.
All right, so we really started this back in high school, participated in dual enrollment at Clayton State University, and then I went out to Fort Valley State University. And after Fort Valley State University, I ended up at Howard University.
What were your years? What graduated?
We graduated high school in 2011.
2011?
Yeah, then I went to Fort Valley for my Bachelor of Arts in English with a concentration in writing. I took a year off. Then I always knew I was going to go to law school. Then I made that decision to go to Howard School of Law. And even with the certain distinctions, of course, you go into the HBCU, you just become a part of the culture, join the band. So I was a member of KK Psi, National Honorary Band Fraternity, and also a member of Alpha Phi Alpha as well. So shout out to the good brothers. Yeah.
All right, brother.
Yeah. HBCU through and through.
Well, I'm gonna keep it short. So Marlo Bowles checking in. Like he said, graduated high school 2011. From that point, I went straight into the military. So I had like a year, some change gap before I actually went to college. And then after that, outside of high school, once I graduated, I only applied to one school. Yeah, I lied to my mom and said I applied everywhere else, but I only applied to one school.
Forgive him, mama.
So that was Morehouse College.
Wow.
You know what my dad would say?
We're going to have to talk about
What he said? The house?
Yeah. House?
Man.
You heard me say?
Yeah, you great.
Yeah, the house, bro. So so went to Morehouse College. Graduated bachelor's of biology, and then after that, I wanted to pursue a dual nursing program to be a nurse practitioner in orthopedics, but we're gonna talk about why I didn't when we get to it.
We're gonna talk about why you just chose that one too.
What's up, my brother?
Nah, but I gotta say me for last.
Okay, say you last. All right. All right,
Mike was
graduate.
trying to set himself up for last.
All right.
Yeah.
Y'all went back to high school. So graduated 2011 high school.
Yeah.
All right.
You gotta let us know where you started.
Same path as Marlo. All right, military man. But for myself, I started in college. Then I partied too much, lost my hope.
Yeah.
Then they had me working at an Avon factory, and I was like, "Man, fuck that."
Avon factory?
Bro, Avon factory in Swanee, bro.
what?
So I'm driving from Atlanta to Swanee.
You know Avon. You know the Avon lady come with the products,
You know Avon lady, bro,
lotions,
like,
and
with the products.
creams, and toners, and
roll-on deodorant.
Bro.
Oh
Crazy.
man.
Bro, so
Okay, yeah.
I was working in that sweatshop, bro. I realized, this ain't it. Like, this ain't it, bro. So I
How long you was
joined.
there?
I was there for a year. I was there for a year until I went to the military. Until I went to the Air Force, bro. Like, straight up, like. So joined the military. Then I came back. Decided to go to finish up my stuff at Georgia State. Graduated in 2018 with the bachelor's in communications, focusing on journalism. Yeah, that's it, brother. I wasn't. I wanted to play it so bad, bro.
Yeah.
But
Me too.
What you were going?
come on, bro. You know I was going, bro.
I don't know.
What you mean you don't know, bro? Bro, stop. I'm gonna be alpha, bro.
Indeed, that's what
Come
I'm
on, bro.
saying.
You know that.
I always saw that.
But
I always saw something in you, man. I knew, I always saw something in you, bro.
But the only reason I stopped, bro, because I was like, man, listen, bro. Bro, after being in the military, bro, taking orders and doing all that extra shit, bro. I'm like, bro, don't talk to me like that. You talked to me funny one time, bro. I said, nah, I'm good, man.
I was on that too, bro, because I originally was going to be online. I done went to the entrance meeting. I was set. But then I was like, man, I'm already in too many games, bro.
That's it, bro. Too many games.
Too many games.
I'm at Morehouse All Middle School.
Yeah, that's a whole nother.
All that. Nigga from the South Side, that's a game by
That is a game.
Tomorrow, that's another game.
Nigga from the South Side, boy.
You want to claim Clayco, that's another game by itself.
Yeah.
So man, I definitely would have been a Q though.
Wow. Hey, shout out to the Qs, man.
So ironically,
Wow.
Especially
because in high school,
in high school we was in Capital League.
Yeah.
So they were cool.
Yeah.
But then when I got to school, I'm really cute. I'm really cute by blood because my dad is a Q. Most people don't know that. My dad went to Clafton.
Wow.
Yeah, so my dad is a Q. So by blood, I would have been a Q, but my heart would have been alpha though.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
No, that's real. No, that's real.
Yeah,
that's
that's
real.
right.
But I would have did it for my dad just because you already spoke. We had that blood. It was that disconnect, and I feel like if I would have pledged that, that would have been like
Oh,
something
wait up.
great.
Right.
Yeah,
He would have.
yeah.
That's
Yeah, he would have. Yeah. I was like, I'm going to my house, man. You good enough with that shit.
All right, so here I go.
Yeah, drink something, bro.
The hell?
All right, I graduated Morrow High School 2011. Went straight into Georgia State. Changed my major 4 times. I settled, or
4 times?
I changed it 4 times. I came in a journalism major. Wanted to do my writing. I wanted to do my writing, wanted to do something with that, but I was like, nah, I want to write from my own voice. So, and plus, I didn't want to continue to write what they told me to write. So, changed that to psychology.
I like that.
Psychology and philosophy, and then I changed that to double majoring in psychology and sociology. So I graduated with two degrees. Summa cum laude, so highest honor in both.
Indeed. Let go.
Went on to NYU after that for my master's, sociology of education. It really was a coin flip. I wanted to do either or psychology or sociology, but I want to do sociology of education. So to many people out there who want to ask or who always confuse sociology with psychology, please don't. It's completely different. So let me give you a little breakdown of what sociology is. Sociology studies the many contexts and constructions, ideologies, themes in which it creates the social world in which we live in. Ideologies, constructions, themes that create the social world in which we live in. So race, gender, religion, education, sexuality. There's so many more, tons more of different sectors of sociology where we analyze how in which this has came to be and how it's currently functioning and whether it is affecting our respective populations that we choose to examine. So for me, I went to school for sociology of education, so I studied sociology in regards to educational inequalities that affect Black and brown folks in dilapidated or under-resourced, underfunded neighborhoods. And that was what I studied at NYU for my master's from 2015, graduated 2017 from NYU. Took 4 years off to become an educator. Wanted to apply some of my studies, some of my knowledge to see what was actually happening in our communities. Was a college counselor at Great Oaks Charter School in Newark, New Jersey. Actually, that's where my family's from. 3 generations back on both sides of my family, Newark, New Jersey. So it was sort of like me coming back home unknowingly. Yeah, I did that for 4 years, and now I'm currently in my first year as a PhD student back at Georgia State in sociology, studying race and gender, particularly in regards to achievement and racial consciousness in America. So that is where I am and where I stand with that. Oh, y'all didn't answer the last question. First gen, are y'all the first in your family?
No.
Yes.
All right, so it's me and Porter are first gen. Again, first gen is when either your parents have not completed college and you are the first to do so. Even if you have like siblings, even if like you're the oldest sibling and you've completed it, your siblings are still first gen. All right. Now, talk about some numbers earlier. We wasn't talking about statistics. We was talking about student loans.
Yeah.
How much you got in student loan debt, gentlemen?
Yeah.
I got 48.
You got 48?
100?
Hey, look, that was like in that video. Yeah.
That's a semester.
48,000.
Yeah, nah.
That's crazy, bro. I got 48 too.
Yeah.
48,000.
Nah, I'm up there.
But that's 48.
Three degrees. 3 degrees.
Yeah.
And
That's 48 for one for me.
Where you at, Love?
Yeah, nah, I'm at 175,000.
175,000?
Yeah.
you went to 2 HBCUs though.
Yeah, no, Fort Valley. I had scholarships. Yeah, Fort Valley. I had scholarships.
That's all from Howard? That's all from Howard?
I mean, it was a little from Fort Valley.
It ain't even 75 from Fort Valley.
No, like maybe 20.
25.
Yeah, like the 2025, but like the bulk of it comes from Howard Law, for sure. But let me say this real quick. So when I was at the firm out in Silicon Valley at Fenwick and West, what was interesting is that I would sit and I would talk to my other colleagues that were first year associates. The majority of them had their parents pay both their undergrad and their law school tuition off. And so it was an odd thing where it's like I'm one of the only ones, maybe one or two others, out of this pool of 20, 25 people, and everybody is already, they're like, but it's generational. Like they have a legacy of just having it where their parents are doctors and lawyers and engineers. And so as it should be. And it was odd for me because I'm sitting there thinking that this is kind of unfathomable. Like how you pay off, 100, you know what I'm saying?
How much money y'all got? Like,
yeah, like I'm over there, like, but it's like they were able to just to get that fresh start.
Right.
Whereas, and then we'll get into this, whereas a lot of us that graduate from Howard, there's this immense pressure to go into a certain type of practice so that we can compensate for that income. Well, yes, it is good experience. Yes, it is the white shoe law firm experience. Yes, it does have that name recognition and all those things attached to it. But there's like this added pressure because we have, over $150,000, worth of debt that we have to, deal with. And luckily, by virtue of just the market, over a period of time, over, being in that profession for 4 to 5 years, you can pay it down. But I'm just saying that it's interesting. I'm just saying it's interesting. Yeah.
What are your numbers?
I'm still stuck on 175.
I'm at $0, fellas.
Congratulations, bro.
Military?
Yes, sir.
And Georgia State was cheap.
Come on, bro.
I didn't have to pay anything.
Come on,
Georgia
man.
State.
Listen. But see, like, I sold my soul for that, bro.
What? Oh, yeah, military?
Yes, brother. Sounds
crazy, right?
Bro.
I sold mine too, but I still have my debt. Cause really, bro, like my recruiter lied to me, bro.
They lie to everybody, bro.
Yeah. He kind of finessed me. Like, the military will pay for your education, but they want their time first. And due to the point that we originally went reserve, we didn't have that active duty contract. So if you would have went into the military active duty, and since you're on contract, then they would go ahead and initiate your GI Bill in full, and you can pay, and you can go to school and they pay for it. But on the reserve end, you would have to have your active duty time add up,
accumulate 3 years,
before you get that GI Bill. So if you do 3 years, and by the time I was really eligible for the GI Bill, bro, I had like a semester or two left. So I was like,
oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I never.
And then they have like tuition assistance and all that. But
I was gonna say, but tuition assistance.
I was going to Morehouse, so
that shit don't make no dent in tuition.
That ain't
tuition assistance. What is it for public and private?
So tuition assistance is they give you what, $2,500 a year or a semester? I'm sorry.
Yeah,
$2,500 a semester.
Like $2,500 from a semester, like $4,800 to $5,000 a year.
Yeah,
that's nothing.
So
I ain't gonna lie, that's really nothing.
Right, it's nothing for Morehouse, but it was great for Georgia State, brother. I was good, man.
And you were resident too.
Yeah, and then I had like, you know what I'm saying, then at Pell Grant, you know what I'm saying, like
the hope,
like I was good. So like that's why like I'm like, one of the things where my dad like really instilled in me is that when he graduated Morehouse back in the day, he graduated with zero, like owing nobody. Now granted, my grandma didn't play like my grandma always believed you can't afford it, you ain't going. But obviously, she could afford it, so she made sure that she got my dad down to zero. I didn't have the same help, you know what I'm saying? But I made sure I needed to do what I needed to do so I don't walk away. And actually, I take that back. Remember when I did graduate, I owed, what was it, like $1,000? That's why I couldn't get my degree for a minute. Yeah, man.
Oh, they held on to it.
Yeah, they put you on hold, boy.
Yeah,
they put you on hold, boy. They don't play about that.
They don't play about that shit, man. It don't matter though. In my head, I graduated.
Yeah.
But, it was like that J. Cole, bro. Like, cause like with J. Cole, when he went to his school up in New York, St. John's, they held his degree for like $500. You know that, right? He didn't get it until I want to say it was
first album.
No, not first album. What's the one with the
mixtape warm up?
Nah, bro, it's like his third. No, it's his third tape.
You just told me Friday Night Lights.
No, his third full album.
What?
For Your Eyes Only.
What?
Yeah, they have you look it up, bro. There's a video, bro, where it shows that they ended up like he went there for a visit and they presented him with his degree.
Did he ever pay the $500 though?
Probably, I mean, I don't think so.
Yeah.
But that's crazy, right? Like, what they'll hold your degree for, bro? Like, but it's all good, bro.
Yeah.
$0 for me though.
All right, well, let's get into the next common topic. How much have you used your degree since you graduated? How did you apply your degree or not? So you said you graduated with communications and journalism. You graduated with bio. You took your English and channeled that into law. I took mine and channeled it into where I'm at now. So it's like, how much have you used it? Did you use it? And if not, why? What caused the pivot? And if you did keep it, what made you stick to it?
Yeah, I use it every day. I've used it every day since before I got into law school. I was already doing incorporations and I was already drafting contracts when I was in college. And so my business initially started where that was my business. I would draft contracts for businesses. I would incorporate them. And that was just part of my consulting when I was in college. And then when I got into law school, graduated, ended up on the West Coast in Silicon Valley. I was literally doing similar things at a higher level. We're talking about doing major mergers and acquisitions and, financings and security offerings, looking at earnings report, all these different things. But I use it. I use it every day. So like for me, the benefit of it, I didn't even bat an eye at the debt because I already knew what the earning potential was and I knew how I work. So it was like, I know that by me being in this particular network, it's not even just a matter of just what I do, but now I have this access to this network. So even with my business with Sneaker Asylum, when you can just call, one of your law school colleagues, hey bro, I need 5, 10, 15. All right, bro, when you need it. All right, here you go. Like that's because we all as attorneys, especially working for white shoe law firms, as many of us are, you're able to put yourself in a position where you're making a certain number. You like, and it's like 5-10,000. Okay, give me back 20%, 35%. And so now my colleagues have helped. Some of them help participate in funding my business. When I was running for city council, hey, I gotta make a phone call. Yo, I need you to go ahead, hey, shoot me a couple hundred. I gotta get some signs. And so I will say that there's the benefit of just having a network of like, you know, professionals with money that are able to back and finance you. And then when you become the person that they know, that you work with them and they see you do something different, they're more willing to support it, because it's like, okay, they're going to keep doing what they do, you know, and it kind of keeps them in that safe space. And then it's like, if you have a friend, a colleague that ventures off into entrepreneurship, it's like, you know what, I can support that, and then I can make money from that as well. And you're just more likely to do that. So that's why I say I use it every day. I use it every day for me.
That's a blessing, bro. Well, I can't say the same. So, like, as I stated earlier, bro, like, I went to the military first. And then, like I said, I went to Morehouse, graduated as a biology major. But ideally, like, so career-wise, I wanted to be a lawyer first. Mm-hmm. So, like, in high school, me and Elijah
we was both in mock trial.
But then I realized, like, I wasn't really too fond of, like, reading like that, in a sense. So then, like, I was good in math and science. Like, never studied in school, AP this, AP that. I'm killing it, all right? So I'm like, okay, well, I go to Morehouse, I'm just going to be a bio major. I'm going to be a doctor. At first, I wanted to be a neonatal physician, but I was like, premature babies, that's a little too much on my heart. Mm-hmm. So what else do I like besides that? Besides babies, I was like, I like sports in a sense. Like, I'm pretty good at most sports. So I'm thinking like, okay, orthopedic surgeon, cool. So then I'm like going through school, and like for some reason, like every 3 years, like I have this moment in life where like life hits me, and then I just get on a different path or a different passion, right? So like my junior year in high school was a thing, and then again in my junior year in college was a thing. So then I started, at that point, I'm like more of like a numbers guy, right? Like if the math and calculations don't make sense, I ain't doing it, regardless of passions or anything. Like if it doesn't make sense logically in the numbers and I do the math, I'm not gonna do it. So by this point, I'm probably a senior airman. I'm probably an E4 or going on staff, because 2017 we made staff, right?
2017.
So going on staff my junior, senior year, and I'm doing the math. I'm like, okay, well, I don't want to take the MCAT. So what's another alternative? I'm like, okay, I can take this dual nursing program at Chamberlain up in North Georgia. And then my GI Bill can pay for it. So now this point, I'm like, okay, school is free. I done got my dad from Morehouse. Now this will be free. Everything good. But then I'm doing the math. I'm doing the research. And I'm like, okay, RNs make this. Then I gotta take the, what's it called, the NCLEX and stuff like that. And I'm doing the math. I'm looking at their salaries. I'm like, okay, then I gotta go get my master's at this point too, after I do the dual degree. Because basically the dual degree, they're just gonna take basically most of the proportions of my biology credits. And then now I gotta do is just take all the nursing core classes. Okay. And then boom, I got my RN.
Right.
And then now I gotta take the NCLEX to become actually that nurse in a sense.
Oh, sounds good.
To actually work in the hospital.
Okay.
So then I was like, okay, but they ain't really making that. You know what I'm saying? For real.
Yeah.
They making about 45 in Georgia.
With all that?
In Georgia.
Education?
At the end? Wait. Whoa.
Well, you gotta think I had to do more work because I had to bring over my biology to become, and then take the nurse core classes to become RN. Them, they just go take their first 2 years, take their core classes, and then they take their nursing classes. Then they gotta pass the NCLEX and all that to actually get like certified as an RN. You know what I'm saying? But I had to kind of do most of the leg work and then come back and do more of the work. So it sounds like a lot, but if I went straight out, it's normal. Okay. It's a normal degree. 4 years, X, Y, and Z, you take the test and you move on. But for me, I had to kind of double back, do it again. And then basically with just the bachelor's and becoming an RN, Georgia-wise, they don't really make that much to me personally. I think they start at like your first year or two is like 45. And then maybe you get to year 3 or 4, they're probably at 65, 70, right? But you got to think at that time for me, I'm about to become a staff sergeant, everything straight. I'm already making 65, 75.
Yeah.
So it's just like, do I want to do all that just to come back out and make the same thing that I'm already making?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, do that make sense? I'm like, nah, that don't really make sense, bro. You gotta come up with alternatives. So then I was like, well, if I'm already making the money, and this is basically like 2016, 2017, that's when I really got into like the business mind and the business bag. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm making the money, I'm stacking bread, but my money ain't making money for me. That's when that mindset got installed. So that's when I started to really get into the business bag. And I think after that, I was like, yeah, school's not it, bro. More of a story. I was like, yeah, it just don't make sense. Like, I would like to do it. I'm smart as hell, but just with the numbers, I'm just like, bro, I'm already making this bread. I might as well maximize where I'm at now versus trying to backtrack just to get back where I'm at. Right. To still, because in the day, once you got a career and it's not really like a true like career profession like a lawyer or a doctor or on your own practices and stuff like that, you still kind of making average bread. So I'm already in the average bracket. I need to put my focus elsewhere to actually put myself in the potential to be in the top 1%. Right. And now that top 1% for us in 2022 is about 450,000 to 750,000.
Isn't that crazy? Just 450?
Because we usually think top 1% is like, oh, $1 million, X, Y, Z, but it's only 450. That's the goal. Exactly.
Number one podcast.
Yeah.
1%.
1%.
Everybody. For me, I'm like Elijah. You know, I made it my damnedest when I got to undergrad. That's why I changed my major 4 times to make sure that whatever I wanted to do, I was going to use. Yeah. That's why I changed my major so much, because I was like, okay, I want to write. Okay, cool. But then I like people. I want to see what's happening in the world around me, and I want to try to change it. I want to try to at least influence it to make it better, right? Have more conversations to make it better. So, all right, psychology, sociology, boom, boom, boom. And I knew coming out with a psychology or sociology degree as a bachelor's, what? You either going in the teaching field or you going into like Peace Corps, AmeriCorps. Shout out to all y'all. I mean, you're going to teaching, you go into AmeriCorps, Peace Corps, you go into low level, high stress, underpaid, under-resourced environments. So I was like, oh, hell no. So that's why I was like, I'm gonna go get my master's. That's why I didn't take any breaks. I was like, I'm gonna go straight to get my master's. I'm gonna go to an elite school. We're gonna talk about that. I'm gonna go to an elite school, increase my competitiveness, and I'm gonna try to double down on what it is that I want to do. Right. And then after that, once I had, I continued. I was like, okay, cool. Now I want to get into education. Now that I have my master's, let me now get into education and see what it's looking like. Even then, to that point, it was like still under-resourced, still underpaid, high stress, and plus, with me being who I am, I wanted to be around my own people. I wanted to be around black staff. I wanted to be around black kids. I wanted to be around everything black. Right. I wanted to create that community and be a part of that community. And with that, to some schools, many schools, under-resourced, overstressed, underpaid. As a college counselor, I was helping students graduate. Yeah. I was helping students, by putting them into college. So I had to put a lot of my wisdom onto them by telling them, hey, you got to find another way to save money. Go to community college, go to this, go to that, stay in state. I know you want to leave Jersey. I know you want to get away from your parents, but you got to save bread. And the amount of backlash I received from, the higher ups of the network or from parents themselves, because they were just like, why are you short-sighted my child or this or that? I was just like, okay, the education system is an issue in and of itself, and I can't try to work and figure it out while maintaining this full-time job. And I was ready for something new. Ready to go back to school, get your doctorate, finish what you started. That's my pops always say, ready to finish what you started?
Right.
Yep. Sociology, here I am now, and I'm in the lab trying to figure out, trying to, create platforms and with you all and others to try to manifest the world that we say we want and we say we deserve, as black folk. And you can't do that sometimes being in a position where you're exhausted of your resources, you're exhausted of your mental capacity, you're exhausting your knowledge because it's not being used, you're exhausting your talents because they're not being properly allocated and distributed wherever you are. And a good excuse to still stay on track is going to school, because you are in isolation, you are studying the things you are of interest, you are writing and reading the things that are of your interest, and you're putting yourself in position from a networking perspective to be next to, you know, professors and tenured folks and policymakers and all this other stuff, to where it's like you can now play a part in changing things. Because sometimes I'm not downing anybody who's still in the trenches. You know, as teachers and as principals and as administrators, continue to do your thing. But also it's about knowing your worth. It's about knowing how to think smarter, not harder. And I was like, I'm going to get my doctorate. I'm going to step aside and I'm going to come back later. I'm going to come back more equipped. I'm going to come back with a little bit more wisdom and foresight so we don't burn ourselves out. And that's what's happening. You have people who are like key figures that make shit shake being burnt out because they're the only ones making shit shake. They're the only ones coming up with ideas. They're the only ones taking initiative. They're the only ones being proactive. They're the only ones creating partnerships. They're the only ones gathering dollars. They're the only ones. And then you're going to be surprised when they're the ones who leave. So it's things like that you have to put into perspective. And for me, I think that's where, that's why I was like, I have to apply this degree through and through.
That's that, bro. You know it's crazy, bro. People be mad when them folks leave too after being all burnt out. Be upset, like big mad, like offended, right? Offended, like how could you? Like it's crazy. So
it's gonna be a long one.
Yeah.
So you know that right now, Jay.
So
you wanna bring that back?
Yeah. Shout out to the producer, man. Keeping us on track.
Yeah, shout out to Jay, man. Our director, our producer, man.
So
it's gonna be long.
For myself, to answer the question, no, in the sense of like I'm using it for like my daily job or my daily career, right? So I'm still in the military. I'm 11 year vet right now. I told you I got my degree in communication. So what I really wanted to do at first was I wanted to actually get into like sports broadcasting. That was my thing. You know, I watch First Take every day. You know, I'm watching Undisputed. You know, First Things First. You know, like that's what I wanted to do. Yeah. But then, you know, I'm kind of like Marlo. Like I'm very like I'm a numbers guy, right? And I'm like, okay, I'm already 10 years. You know, at that time, I would have been I was like 10 years into my career. No. Say it back.
Talking about graduation?
Yeah. What is that?
7, 8.
Yeah, 7. I was 7 years into my career, right? Already making 65.
Yeah.
And I'm like, nah, bro, like that's not what I want to do. Like, so like my end goal is that one of my dreams is to become a general manager of an NBA basketball team. That's what I want to do. Like, I want to make decisions and do all that stuff. But upon my research, you know, because that's one of the reasons I chose the path I did in the sense of like degrees, because I have a minor in business economics as well. So I realized like this ain't it. Like, I like money. I'm a bougie ass nigga, bro. Like, I like expensive shit. Yeah. And this is not gonna, you know what I'm saying? Like, this ain't gonna get it for me. So, you know, that's when I really dove deep into business. You know, just like looking at my father, you know, with his businesses that he did, I'm like, damn, you know, like I wanna make money. Like, that's it. And I would say the one thing I do use my degree for, right? So like when you're doing communications, right? You know, it's a lot of networking. You're doing like public relations and things like that. Is that I've been able to like become really, I don't want to say a smooth talker, bro. Like, you know, but
you became more charismatic.
More charismatic, but like I've learned how to like really, really like network myself and just to build relations with people that are in, you know, higher places. So I know that, because you know what they say, right? You want to be a millionaire, what do you do? Hang out with millionaires, right? Mm-hmm. So that's what I'm striving for currently. You know, honestly, that was just for mama, to be honest with you. Right. Gave it, here you go. Appreciate you.
That's the next one.
I did what you need me to do. So, yeah.
It was interesting.
Next question. The hot question.
It was interesting.
The hot question.
Okay. Yeah.
Building off of that. You are smooth.
Smooth, boy.
Smooth operator. Right on time. What are some myths or themes about education that your parents or people around you told you growing up that you now realize was partly, if not, bullshit? And what are some things that was left out of the curriculum that you was in growing up that would have been so helpful and key now?
If you want to be successful.
So like first question, what was some myths or some themes or some things that your parents or loved ones around you was telling you and pushing you on about education that you now realize sort of kind of questionable, sis. Sort of kind of questionable now that I'm grown, I've graduated, I've looked back, I've reflected. What are some of those things you felt were just complete, utter, just false?
If you want to be successful, you need to go to college. Can we think about, just give me 3 billionaires real quick.
Yeah.
Give me 3 billionaires. Let's go with what?
Yay.
Huh? No, I mean, sure. Let's go with Ye, right?
Elon.
I mean, Elon, Ye, Bill Gates, right? What do all of them have in common?
Mark.
What do all of them have in common? Mark, they didn't finish school. They didn't finish college.
Yeah, nobody finished college.
That's like, look at it nowadays, bro, where the companies like Google, Apple, bro, they're like, bro, you don't need no degree. You need a cert. That's it.
Yeah. Let's get straight to it.
Let's get straight to it. Fuck all that extra.
Experience. You need experience. Just hands-on experience.
Forget all that extra stuff. Can you do this? Can you run this program? Cool. That's it. That's all I need to know. Here's 80,000.
That's that. They making 6 figures.
Exactly.
And they get nap breaks.
Isn't that crazy? Have you seen those sleeping pods they be in? Have you seen them? Oh, you experienced sleeping pods.
Yeah, I was out there.
On high school degree.
It's
high schools and certs.
It's nice. Yeah.
What about you?
That's it.
That's the number one.
That's the number one thing. Go to school. Go to school. You'll figure it out. Go to school. Go to school. Go to school. Go to school.
Right, as long as you stay in school.
As long as you stay in school, figure it out. But the funniest thing is coming from people who haven't been. I'm not slighting anybody. I'm not slighting anybody. I'm not trying to be classist. I'm not trying to be any of that. I'm just trying to put you all on game.
I see the type of yard.
But it's foolish. It's foolish for me to tell anybody, if I have not experienced it myself, to go and do it.
Mm-hmm.
Outside of me telling you something that is general as this, if you have something that you are passionate about and you feel like this is something that is a part of your purpose, pursue that. That's something that's the most general and the most direct statement I can give you. But you telling me that I need to go to college and everything will figure and work itself out because I went to college cannot be any short of the truth. And that's what it leads to. That's why that second part of that question was, what are some things that were left out while you were in school that could have been more beneficial now that you're out of it?
Finance.
Credit.
Yeah.
Credit.
Building your own.
Yeah.
Being yourself, building your own business, pursuing your creativities and your passions. Like you said, credit.
You know what that is?
What?
Come on.
Expansion.
Separating what?
Personal from business?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Separating.
I was going back to Marlo. He was like,
but separate like
person from
yes, that's the right where you're not liable with your social security numbers. Everything's going to your business.
There's so many ways.
Come on, man.
I mean, one of the things for me going to HBCU, it was interesting, and I remember being in high school at first being a little reluctant because of what certain counselors and how they were instructing me. They were saying that if I went to a HBCU, that I wouldn't receive the type of education or opportunities as I would if I went to other schools, such as what people call "quote unquote" PWIs. And I think that was just very, very dangerous. And also I had, a couple of teachers at Morrow that said to me personally that I'm a go, I'm a party, and then I'm gonna end up failing. And I'm gonna just tell you flat out,
look at them now.
Yeah, like and it's so interesting because when they told me that, like I went to a place where initially I was like, man, nah, I was looking at HBCUs with a lens like that because of what I had been told. And then I ended up at Fort Valley. And as soon as I got to the campus and just the spirit, the energy, the family, the way that they brought me in, and they had specific programs for me as a black man. Right. So, special thanks to Dr. Saeed Sewell, because he created a program for African-American men that was focused on putting them in this quote unquote group where, similar to Morehouse, like you're able to build with your 25 brothers. So you initially start off with this brotherhood. You get preferential treatment inside of this, getting certain honors type curriculum. And then the second phase to that is that I made it a personal journey not to go to any parties. I did not go to any parties my first year. Like that was something personally to me because I remember how many times that teacher, and I know who she is, she know who she is as well, when she would look at me and she said that you're going to end up dropping out. You're going to end up failing because you're going to end up partying. And so I made him my goal. Yeah, 4.0. Yeah, nah, we out here.
Yes, sir.
You know, so like it was,
yes, sir, talk that
you know,
shit,
that was definitely a thing that was in the back of my mind, where it's like, I have to show that just because you go to a historically black, you know, institution, that doesn't mean that you're any less than. And then let me also say this, like, even especially when it comes to Howard, people come looking for the best of the black people there. So when you go to a HBCU, one of the things that you can resonate is that people are looking for black people there because they know that that's where black people are. Mm-hmm. You see, so it's also a strategic thing. If I would have put myself in a position and went to a different institution that's not quote unquote predominantly black, then they're not necessarily looking for me. So then I just become a part of the batch. Mm-hmm. But if I, you know, I'm the, you know, top of the top amongst, you know, my particular group, then it's like, oh yeah, I was looking for you anyway. So it's a different level of intention that goes into it, especially for those that, you know, going to professional school. So those are some of the things that I felt like I had to deal with personally and had to overcome. And it's so funny because, you know, the people at Harvard and people at Stanford and the people at all these different institutions, and we were all at the same firm. You know, we all making the same salary.
All went to,
you know, we
all ended at the same spot.
And I'm just saying, and the way that they groomed us at Howard and the way that they groomed us at Fort Valley, the level of confidence, the confidence that I have when I'm just in a room and I'm chilling and I can be myself. It's a lot of black people that are very uncomfortable around different types of groups. You know, they deal with the imposter syndrome. Like, you know what I'm saying? Just because, and what I can say is that by going to a HBCU, it gave me, it was like, no, this is you. So it's like a different level of confidence that I have just being around white people, being around anybody. It's just like, man, I'm me. I don't know what y'all talking about. I'm just doing me. And so that was a myth. That was a stigma that I had to deal with. Yeah.
Right. And then I'm sorry, Marlo, but I gotta build off of this, right? I gotta build off of this because when I was in school, high school, well, I think we all become slaves to credentialism.
In a sense, yeah.
It's like, okay, what school you went to? Yeah, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and put this school ahead of this.
Yeah.
So even with me currently, I returned back to Georgia State. I love where I'm from. I love what Georgia State had treated me. It was one of the most organically diverse schools, period. Like, you really do see black folks with Asian folks and Asian folks with Latino folks. You really see that. And it's not just something you just have in a photo op. So I really appreciated that from Georgia State, right? And plus it was affordable and it was right in the heart of the city. It's where I'm from. So I looked forward to coming back. And I remember when I was going through my little introductions, telling folks, you know, what schools I went to, yada, 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 you know, during orientation time, first semester shit. Everybody was just like, damn, you came here? Like, you just left NYU? Like, you came here? And it's just like,
that's crazy.
I'm like, trust me, you wouldn't want to experience what I experienced when I went to NYU. Yeah. Like, it was a PWI. It was a predominantly white institution. Black people only account for 4%. 4%. And we just talked about it in the beginning of this episode, how black folks are only barely 14% in the country. So to go to a PWI such as NYU, which is expensive, there's only 4% of black folks there. They have to have private black graduations to honor all the black students who graduate from that institution every year. There's a black graduation at NYU.
Wait, yes. Like outside of, is that like,
it's outside of commencement. They grab all the black folks who's going to graduate. They grab all the black folks who's going to graduate from undergrad to grad. And it can still barely fill the auditorium, to put that in perspective.
Yeah. Wow.
So it's like, okay, you want to chase these letters, you want to chase this school. Yes, it's in the, I mean, granted, come on now. I was still in Greenwich Village. I worked in Soho. Like, granted, I love New York as a city. I'm not talking about, you know, the location benefit that I received as being an NYU student. The perks and, you know, being an alum does have its benefits. I'm not going to hold you. Like, I'm going to see Solange Knowles. She's a part of Black Women Rock through NYU. I'm going to watch, because I'm alumni, I'm going to see her give her presentation. I'm going to see her speak. Like, there are perks. But when you're black, coming from a predominantly black space like Atlanta,
Yeah.
You take that for granted because you're trying to chase some form of elitism. You're trying to chase some form of credentialism because also you're under this impression because everybody tells you go to school, you'll figure everything out. Oh shit, all I need to do is get an NYU degree and people are going to start coming for me. Oh shit, I forgot again. I'm competing against everybody else who got an NYU degree and those who got a Howard degree and those who got from Morehouse degree and those who got from Georgia State degree. I have to sell it too. It's not just going to come and fall in my lap. Now, I know that'll be an eye catcher on my resume and CV, but at the same token, it's like, don't let that be the determining factor as to why you feel like I'm better than, or why you feel like I'm more equipped, or why you feel like my aptitude may be higher. Because, you know, again, I'm not going to down myself. Yeah, I put in some work, but at the same token, it's like I'm not going to let the school speak for myself. I'm supposed to do that, and that's the point that you were trying to highlight. You're supposed to sell yourself, and the point of the reason as to why, you know, I was dealing with imposter syndrome was because when I got to NYU, I was the only black man in all my classes. It felt like I was fucking back in 1954s all over again. I was the only black man in all my classes. And whenever they talk about race, you didn't see people look at you, but you felt that if you said anything, that they were going to look at you and use you as like a conduit into the black community.
Well, how do you feel about it?
Right. So I just so instead, and plus with me, I kept my mouth shut. You know what I'm saying? Like, and plus I'm tall, dark, and handsome. I don't know how niggas can view that. If I really were to speak my mind like this in those settings, how they will take to me. Oh, he's threatening. Oh, well, he's appealing. I don't know what kind of polarizing nature I'll present. So I was silent through most of my time at NYU. And these are the kinds of things you went through. I was silent. I didn't go to any parties because I didn't want to feed into the stereotype. I didn't talk to anybody outside who was black, who wasn't black. You know what I'm saying? Like I kept it. I mean, outside of my initial cohort, which was 12 of us, like outside of them, I didn't really talk to many people that wasn't black because I was trying to regain my conscience, regain my identity in this predominantly white space. And you never feel compelled to do that when you come from a predominantly black space. Until you put in a predominantly white space.
Atlanta will spoil you.
Atlanta will spoil you. So I was just like, well, everybody's all on my back. I'm like, oh, you went to NYU, you great, you this, you that, you great, you went to NYU, and it's like, nah, like I still went through some shit. Yeah, I graduated with 3.75, but I went through some shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's something that's not, well, I mean, people talk about it out there in the atmosphere about PWIs versus HBCUs, and you know what I'm saying? But I think it needs to be dived in a little bit more, and we're gonna get into this.
We'll get
into this. But
a lot of layers.
Go ahead, Marlo, man. Go ahead.
Nah. That's cool. I'm just sitting back here laughing because I'm just thinking about my first experience when I left Atlanta. So basically, my first trip or flight, even leaving Atlanta ever, was going to basic training. And I consider basic training on a PWI scale.
Air Force in general. Air Force in general.
So like even when I got there, like in San Antonio, Texas, at Lackland Air Force Base, like I was the first black person that many of the Caucasian guys seen ever.
Bro, our spoke.
This is 2012, bro.
What? Yes, that's the same thing.
Outside of TV and BET and music videos and rappers and shit like that, I'm the first black person they seen that they can physically touch. And bro, I was like a museum. I'm like a museum prop. Low key.
Man.
I walk in that bitch, I'm chocolate, I'm black as hell.
You got to think it's a melting pot, bro. Everybody around the country. So you getting these folks from middle America. You know what I'm saying? Like, like
places with the middle.
Right.
They coming from the middle.
How you doing? Like,
how was that interaction?
I mean, I'm me.
But like, how did they interact?
They didn't know what to do, bro. They just looked at you.
That's it.
You know what I'm saying? At this point, I'm thinking I got beef. So, you know, from Atlanta, I'm like,
Southside.
I'm like, bro, you good, bro? Hey, man, you know, I'm just looking, bro. You know, I don't know. Like, what you mean? Like, man, this the first time. I ain't gonna tell you, man. What's your name? I'm like, Bose. All right, Bose. This the first time I'm telling you, man. I ain't never seen a black person before.
Crazy.
I'm like, never. Like, bro, it's 2012, bro. I'm like, no, man. Outside the TV, man. You know, it's different for me. So I'm looking around. So at this point, I'm taking surveys in the barracks and shit. At this point, so out of like, I think it was maybe 28 of us, almost 30.
Out of the 30, it was maybe 4 black guys, about 3 Hispanics, 2 Asian guys, and everybody else was white. So let's break that down to about 22. Out of the 22 Caucasian guys, maybe 4 of them never seen a black person in real life outside of television.
It's a little less than.
So that was like, wow, that was different.
Yeah,
But that's kind of like my little PWI experience because, I went to the military prior to school. Other than that, I went to HBCU, so it was good. And I was back home, so it was lit.
Yeah.
I didn't necessarily really party like that. I was already partying, but for me, since I'm from Atlanta already, I was doing regular city partying and shit like that. So I didn't really have to participate in the freshman shit like everybody else because I'm from here.
Right.
So y'all can do that young shit.
You already
I
know.
catch y'all at
Opera.
Black Fridays and shit, whatever, Plaza and all that nonsense. Oh, and I used to go to George Stephen Plaza too. I used to hop on
What's Plaza?
Come on, bro.
Come on, boy. It's like a day party on campus.
Man, come on. It's the reason why Wale and Drake always rap about all those Georgia State girls, man.
What's the one y'all had out every year? They used to play
Promenade?
Is that
Yeah, on the Promenade. Yeah. It used to be Market Thursdays and Market Fridays. So Market Thursday was on Clark and on Clark campus, and Market Fridays was at Spelman. And then on Wednesdays at Morehouse, we had Hump Day Wednesday.
Bro, I would be at that campus so much, bro, that's out of the Morehouse, bro.
Yeah. So Wednesday through Friday between 4 and 7, bro, every campus is jumping. So Wednesday you at Morehouse, Thursday you at Clark, and Friday we ended it at Spelman.
Then Tuesdays and Thursdays at State, that was the busiest days on campus. So it was like from 12, so lunch hour.
Yeah,
during lunch hour.
You said during lunch hour?
Yeah, during lunch hour. Yeah, because everybody would meet up at the library area.
That sounds like a vibe though. Like this.
Yeah,
I was in the sticks. I was in the
we was in the city, bro.
Best homecoming I've ever been to was Howard, bro. Hands down.
Yeah, you like Howard homecoming?
Hands down.
Yeah.
Hands down, bro.
Did you ever come to a Fort Valley homecoming?
Hell no.
Okay, we got it.
Nah.
Yeah,
Are you have? Yeah, I think they mostly have one this year.
Y'all had one last year?
I don't know if it was last year. Well,
No. So I
don't even want to discuss what happened last because it was some things that transpired.
I mean, I'll never slide. I'll never slide.
It was some shootings. But our homecomings are always crazy though. It's a vibe. It's a vibe.
I guess we should make time this year then.
Yeah, we should go to each other. That should be a thing.
I was just thinking, like, I don't want to be, pessimist or nothing like that, but I have to be a realist in this context of, like, we can't change the way in which the education system functions, man, in terms of how it can be, in terms of the narratives, the common narratives that we were talking about now, like how students are receiving these from their families, from their teachers, from counselors, about certain things about school, education, which school to go to, what major to take on, do this, that, how these preconceived notions based on a student who has yet to really break out of high school and find themselves hasn't even answered for themselves. You weren't able to answer that for yourself. Who are they to tell you that you was going to do what you was doing at Fort Valley State? Mm-hmm. Who's going to tell me that going to an elite school was going to be so much better, and I was going to take a sacrifice of my own cultural identity for that, right? So to close out this pod, man, which I feel like is top 5, top 3, man. Top 2, not 1. Top 2, not 1, man. We gonna go on 2 hours, man. We keep going. So we got to.
Jay gonna throw his camera.
So I have to say, what is some advice, man? What is some advice you can give current students at any level that, if a young person would come up to you and be like, Brother Porter, Bowles, Phillips, Mike, Jay, like, what's some advice? What's some sound advice you can give to them at any level? So you can speak to high school, you can speak to middle, you can speak to college students, you can speak to law students, whomever. Like, what are some things that come to mind as well as some shared advice you feel like will be useful for them? Because we ain't gonna stop going to school. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, personally, for me, regardless of what any level that you're on, I would highly recommend that you do some personal development. Get your self-esteem together, get your mind together, figure out like who you are as a person and like what you want out of life. You get what I'm saying? So once you can figure out those things, and then you can, I would say, do it more at an early age. I would say a good age would probably be, as Elijah said, smelling yourself. I'd say about 13 to 15.
Yeah, I say 13.
Like really like that 8th grade summer transition into high school.
That's when puberty hit though. You gotta get those hormones out the way a little bit.
But I'm just saying, them hormones is a good thing because at this point, your senses is up at this point. So I feel like around that 12 to 14 age, like figure out like who you are, what you want to be. Like really focus on yourself as an individual to see like what things in life that you like, what you do and don't like, and leave them girls alone, bro.
Yeah. That's keys too. We were talking about the women in the past, but let the girls go, man. Like have your friends.
We talk about this.
I'm just saying now.
Okay.
You can't focus on yourself if you focus on others.
No, that's real.
And that's male or female, but I know like
let's address
us as men
growing up here in the South where there's chicken and dumplings.
Come on, we gravitate to the women, and most times women can be distractions.
No, that's
so
another point.
Growing up in the
develop
South,
that discipline early, and then once you learn yourself, then you can handle the distractions as they come. Okay. So that's what that's a little tip.
I guess for me, the biggest thing that I would recommend for people, especially like entering college, is find yourself a good mentor. You know, mentorship is very big for myself. You know, Marlo, you know, he's a mentor and has a mentee under him. It's a beautiful thing because like, you know, like Marlo was saying, find out what you like, right? You find what you like, what you want to do. Find somebody in that field that you can study under that can teach you all the lessons that they failed from or the mistakes that they made. So you don't have to make the same mistakes. My dad used to tell me all the time this dumbass phrase, but when I became a man, I understood it now. He's like, there's nothing new under the sun, right? So if you don't know what that means, just basically means that like, you know, what I went through, you're gonna go through. Like, you're gonna do the same fuck ups that I did. But my job, you know, obviously coming from a father standpoint, is to help you alleviate those mistakes by teaching you certain things. So what mentors, you know, get into the fields, do your internships, be open, you know, like that's one of the things for myself. Like I missed out on opportunities that as of right now, I could be in that 1% bracket right now if I was open to opportunities, open to traveling, to moving, to getting outside my comfort zone. Right. You know, we're all comfortable being comfortable. Like, no, I'm trying to be uncomfortable so I can become comfortable.
Right. Yeah, in your own right.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So that's just my biggest thing, man. Mentorship, find a good mentor, and credit too, man. Don't forget that credit, man. Real talk. Credit is huge out here. Work on it. Pay your stuff on time. Under 30% utilization. That's all I gotta say.
No. Both of that's powerful, and I mean, just to expound upon that, I think it's important that whoever's listening to this, high school students, those that are considering going into higher education, always remember the child in you. Ooh. Because the child in you, as we discussed earlier, is evidence, just a dropling of the things that you are seriously passionate and interested in. And that is something that you can use to capitalize on to become. Because to me, I look at education as a means to become a better version of yourself. It's not the end. It's not once you get the degree, this is what happens in phase 2. It's just a means to become a better version of whoever you are, and to move you closer toward that. So by remembering the child in you, you're like, man, like you were saying earlier, like, nah, you used to do mock trial. Like you used to be, you know, so it's like, oh, like you already know those things that you are really interested in that will help you develop. And then the other thing that I would say on the topic of HBCUs, before there was Black Panther and Wakanda, there was an HBCU. Mm-hmm. And I want people to understand specifically why I chose a HBCU, and make sure this is just something that you just keep in mind, right? And the reason why I chose a HBCU is because for the first time, I can be in an environment with healthy, functioning African-American people predominantly that are focused on building collectively together. So you have different people from different walks of lives that end up in different fraternities, different sororities that are vying for government positions. They're vying for political positions, and everybody is different. And we all come together and we are striving to become something at the end of this. And outside of the ghetto, that was my only inkling of seeing something of substance like that. Yeah. And so it lets me know that this is on a microcosm. So the same way that we are functioning like this on a high level with us as Black people in this educational institution, we should be able to go out and do that within the community. So when I was looking at where I came from in Decatur and looking at where we came from on the South Side, we know that we can become more. So I want people to understand that sometimes you have to be willing to make the sacrifice for your people and not just be thinking individually just about you. Like I wanted to make that sacrifice so that I can take that knowledge, I can arm myself, and then go back into my community and make it better.
Yes, sir.
Word. Yo, how do you follow up that? I agree with all three sentiments. I do. And I think y'all can agree with this point here, that education is not housed in a school building.
Okay. I like that.
That's a quote.
That's a quote for sure. Yeah.
Education is not only housed in a school building. What you've learned growing up, South Side, Decatur, in your grandparents' home. What you've learned, Miami, in your family's home. Going through the trials, tribulations we talked about earlier when we talked about manhood and father. All the things you've experienced in the military, PWI, both of you. That's education. We have not been taught to use all of the things we've ingested in this life as we are spiritual, mortal beings as a form of learning about oneself, one's position, one's purpose, and one's place in this life. We never connect those dots. We compartmentalize and we silo every aspect of our identity. Well, we know that every aspect of our identity is fluid. Who you are as a son, who you are as a brother, who you are as a learner, who you are as a professional, who you are as an entrepreneur, who you are as a mate, who you are as a helper, good Samaritan, who you are as a mentor, who you are, all of those things are connected. Once you understand that, that's where the education starts. That's where the life begins. Now it's up to you whether you decide to take on that opportunity at 15, whether you decide to take on the opportunity once you graduate high school, whether you decide you want to take the opportunity when you go to community college trade school, or you want to take up them certs so you can be out in Silicon Valley. At any given point, please know that learning never stops. It never stops. And it's not housed in a school building. Fellas.
Yo, that's
love y'all, man.
Hey, man. Love you too, bro.
Power education, man. Power education.
Power education.
Power education.
Honestly on the table, man. Y'all know what it is.
Yep.
It's a wrap.
FE. It's you.
My brother.